Yay, yay, yay. The stream is live, and currently no one is here. Just wait for people to come in, and then we can get this show on the road. Do people even still say that? Maybe. I don't know. uh, it's a gloomy fucking day today. Oh, and let me get the elephant out of the room. Yes, I got a haircut. My hair is shorter than it usually is, and if anyone doesn't like it, well, I only do these streams once a month, and by the time I do do the next stream next month, my hair will be back to the usual mess it usually is. Yeah. What up, Barnett? How are you doing today? Now, if anyone has been paying attention to the description, there's something that I want to shill in the stream, and I'll pin it in the stream chat right now. Let me do that real quick. Well, I may as well talk about it while I'm typing. There's a friend that I know here on YouTube and on Discord. Well, yeah, I consider her a friend. I don't know if the feeling is mutual. I don't know if she just considers me an acquaintance, but she has a fundraiser on GoFundMe, named Nicole's Transition Fund. It's in the description, and again, I'm going to link it in the chat here in a minute. Instead of me explaining what the fundraiser is in my own words, I'll read what she writes here. My name is Nicole, and I'm transgender male to female. I started transitioning a year ago, but unfortunately, my insurance doesn't cover any trans affirming surgeries. I live in a deep red state where their legislative policies are outright hostile towards LGBT people, especially trans people. The procedures I plan on getting are electrolysis, body hair removal, facial feminization surgery, bottom surgery, and also some much needed pricey dental work. So, if anyone can pitch in for her instead of donating to me this stream, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm sure she would appreciate any amount, even if you donate just $1. Not the stream link, the GoFundMe link. There we go. Pinned message. All right. Anyway, what's the haps? What's the haps? What's the haps? Do people even still say that? How are all of you doing? The 4 people who are here right now. Hello, Arnett. Hello, Dylan. I already explained who Nicole is. I've been watching lots of your rant videos way back, and you did rewatching the old. I don't know what you're talking about. Howdy, Rich. Hello, RMP Glider. Hello, Matt. Can't donate, unfortunately. Well, I mean, I'm not expecting everyone watching to donate, but it's just anyone who wants to, who feels the inclination to donate to me. Instead of doing that, this stream, donate to what I linked in the stream chat. You're doing okay? I'm doing pretty okay as well. I'm doing pretty decent, despite it being a gloomy day. Usually that gets me down, but don't mind it today. Why did you make a video? Scat prawn? Well, I made videos about porn, like up until a few years ago. It was pretty much a series where I talked about things I didn't like in porn, but I don't watch porn anymore. Well, not much anymore, I should say. So I don't do those kinds of videos anymore. But why did I do a video on scat specifically? Because I don't like scat. I find it disgusting. I never got the appeal in that type of content at all. It's gloomy here too in Jersey. Yeah, Yeah, Jersey isn't too far off from New York, so I'd imagine you have similar weather. Some days have been pretty sunny throughout this week, though. I only went to college physically. I mean, went to college once this week because I got a COVID test the other day. No, it wasn't positive. It's just I got the I got the results back yesterday, and it came out negative. I've been very lucky, and I've been able to dodge COVID for 2 years now. Who We'll see whenever my luck runs out. But anyways, I've been able to dodge COVID for all this time now. Surprisingly, even though I take public transportation in New York fucking city, I'm around people all the time when I go to college, but again, I've been able to dodge it. Thank you, vaccine. Well, also, I'm sure other factors play into that as well. But anyways, I got a COVID test the other day. It's mandatory. You get randomly selected every week throughout the semester. People get randomly selected for COVID tests, and you can't go back until you get a negative result. So I missed college. Well, I've had Zoom classes, but I've missed physical classes on Wednesday and yesterday. So the only day I actually went in physically was Tuesday. You hate scat too. I'm sure most people do. You're vaccinated and boosted. Good. Good. I am too. What is my favorite pizza from NYC? I'm a very boring person, and my favorite pizza is plain. Yeah, I don't have any crazy, wacky favorite pizza combo. I don't like the stuff like pineapple pizza or anything like that. I'll have pepperoni from time to time, but I'm just a plain guy, so I like plain pizza. I don't play Street Fighter. I don't play any of those fighting type games. Not Smash Bros. Or Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat or any of those kind of games. Not to talk down to anyone who likes those games, of course. They're just not my thing personally. Next week on my college finals. Yeah, I got a bunch of stuff to do next week as well. It's gonna be a very stressful week coming up because I got papers from all of my classes that I gotta write. Some of them, well, most of them, multiple pages long. Very, very fun. Very fun. You like pepperoni? Yeah, that's the most I'll ever have on my pizza, besides cheese, of course. Pizza's goddamn delicious. I mean, I've been really spoiled, being born in NYC, where fantastic uh, local pizzerias are every corner you look at. I don't know anything about Nikocado. I don't really pay attention to that. I saw this guy in my Instagram feed, even though I didn't follow him. He was talking about how everyone who gets the vaccine are sheep. I see that all the time online. I'm pretty much done arguing with those kinds of people. It's just a waste of my time. I've made that one video where I talked about, how vaccine mandates aren't tyranny. You know, people melted the fuck down. Some people unsubscribed. Good riddance, by the way. But yeah, I don't really want to waste my time with those kinds of people anymore. They're fucking dumbasses for still not taking this virus seriously. The virus is still not over, by the way. People are still getting COVID. One of my professors got COVID, and for the past 2 weeks, we've had to attend that class virtually via Zoom. And people are just acting like this virus is over. It's not. People are still catching COVID. People are still dying from it. But, whatever. Most people just don't acknowledge it anymore. I think it's a non-issue. Got tired of the whole quarantine thing. Do you watch the Rockettes? I was the only time this thing. No, I've never watched the Rockettes. You agreed with that video? Cool. What are your favorite Disney 2D animated movies? My absolute favorite is Lion King. I also really liked Aladdin as a kid. Never seen the remakes though, the live action versions. I don't plan on watching those either. What the fuck else was there? Those are the 2 that come to my mind right away. Usually on these streams, my mind just fucking goes to a blank whenever I'm trying to, like, list things, and then sometimes when I watch these streams after I stream them, I'm like, "Fuck, why didn't I see this? Why didn't I say that?" But, right now, those are the 2 that immediately come to mind. I like how OBA still has comments after he got out of house arrest, and everyone is just expecting him to come back right after his probation. Yeah, I was saying something similar in my Discord server. I highly doubt that the first thing he would want to come back to after 5 years of after a year in prison, 5 years of probation with no online. I doubt the first thing he'd want to run back to is a YouTube channel whose audience now knows that he's a pedophile. Like, maybe he'll come back, I don't know. I don't even know if the fucking probation is over. Some people have said maybe he violated his probation and it's been extended, or maybe he just doesn't wanna come back, but, I don't know. Maybe he'll come back eventually. Maybe it's something he'll do a few months down the line. Never thought he'd like, the day he would get off of probation, he would make a video saying, "Hey, I'm back. You all know I'm a pedophile, but hey, I'm back." I liked An American Tail and Robin Hood as well as The Little Mermaid. I liked Peter Pan too. I enjoyed that. Um, American Tail, I think I watched that once in like kindergarten. Robin Hood, I don't think I've seen. Little Mermaid, same thing. I think I only watched that once in like the auditorium in elementary school. Whenever there'd be like dark and gloomy days or it's raining out, kind of like today, we wouldn't go outside and play. They'd huddle us all in the auditorium after lunch and watch a VHS. And usually it's like old, obscure Disney movies or more popular Disney movies like The Little Mermaid. We watched Little Mermaid, Mulan. If anyone even knows this fucking movie, Oliver and Company. That's the only reason I know that movie because they played it in elementary school. Yeah, it's May now and we haven't heard from him. I'm just gonna sit back, relax, and just wait and see what happens. There's people who like huddle in that comment section, and some have even been there for fucking years at this point. Just spamming that comment section. Like, there's other things you can do with your time. I love chain pizza and actual NYC pizza. Are you going to hate me if I like both kinds of pizza? No, like what you like. I don't care. Whatever kind of pizza you like is none of my concern. I mean, I personally don't like chain pizza very much. I remember having Pizza Hut, or was it Domino's? I think it was Pizza Hut once at a friend's birthday party, and the next day I was throwing up. All that fucking grease they put in that pizza just was too much for my stomach to handle. Yes, even my stomach, even though I was 12 when I ate it. Yeah. Do you think OBA has changed since his time in jail and probation, realizing he's not a god? I would hope that experience humbled him at least a little bit. Like, I don't know, maybe if he were to come back, he wouldn't say shit like, "I'm a god, I'm better than everyone," shit like that anymore, and hopefully not threaten kids anymore, but, I'd just rather him be gone from YouTube entirely, forever. I probably would dislike chain pizza if I lived in NYC, but since I live in Iowa, that's probably why I like it. Well, Um, Probably showing my ignorance here, but in states like that, I think chain pizza is the only pizza, the only option you get when it comes to pizza, right? Not many like good, local pizzerias in a place like Iowa, right? Little Caesars pizza is just nasty. The last time I had any chain pizza was Papa John's at an event we had at my high school in senior year. We were in the auditorium all day, and at the end of the day, they got us Papa John's. Even though the pizzeria I love to eat at all the time, the pizzeria I order from all the time was like literally just a 5-minute drive from my school. No, they got fucking Papa John's. I don't even know where the fuck a Papa John's is in this area. And yeah, I didn't like Papa John's very much, if you were wondering. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great either. Yeah, that's pretty much correct. Yeah, I figured. I kind of feel bad for places for areas in this country where that's the only option. Maybe I'm acting a little elitist right now, but I do feel bad for people who live in places like Iowa where there's not really any good pizza places. I don't watch Dragon Ball. Did I ever record myself on old cassette tapes? Um, Actually, no, I never recorded myself on a cassette tape, at least not to my memory, but I used to like cassettes when I was little, not listening to them, fucking destroying them. I would take the tapes that were under the cassettes, or inside the cassettes, I mean, and just rip them out and play with them. Oh god, I've destroyed so many cassettes. My grandma would get so pissed at me because a lot of them she had for like fucking years, and she would love listening to them. And on a regular basis. Some of those cassettes contain some of your favorite songs and albums, and I just would just fucking rip the tapes out and destroy them. Yeah, I feel bad for that now. But yeah, she really didn't like that at all. She was really pissed at that. But I think a lot of kids like doing that, right? A lot of them will just play with the tapes that are inside the cassettes. I'm not gonna say what pizza place I like to eat at on a regular basis because that place is literally like right by my house, but there is a really good I've talked about this story a million fucking times, but I'll repeat it again in case you never heard. You never heard it, and if anyone's gonna roll their eyes, don't worry, I'll keep it brief. But there was a great pizzeria I ate at called I think it was Ray's in Times Square. Best pizza I ever had, bar none. I turned 15 in that pizzeria. That was the same night I went to the Legos, not Lego, the M&M store and got that M&M cup that I drank out of in that Earth Day video. That was a great night. Yeah. You have to go to a bigger city in order to see some more non-chain place in my state. Yeah, I'm sure. You ever gotten to Legos? Yeah. I used to love playing with Legos when I was in elementary school. I also really loved the Lego video games like Lego Star Wars and Lego Batman not a fan of either I'm not a fan of Star Wars or Batman, but when it came to the Lego games, those were the shit. Hello, Guitar Rocker. How are you doing today? Your birthday is on May 16th. Well, happy early birthday to you. My two uncles, their birthdays are in May as well. they're coming up soon. My other uncle who lives in the basement, his birthday passed. It was in April, and my mom's birthday is just 9 days before me, before my birthday. I mean, March 11th. And I was born on March 20th. You're doing fine. Well, that's good to hear. Good to hear. Yours was last month. Yeah, yours was last month. I remember you announcing that. I'm kind of bad with birthdays though, unless it's, people who live with me, my immediate family, of course, I remember their birthdays off the top of my head, usually. But when it comes to like some friends of mine who I might not talk to all the time, and then they tell me, "Oh, it's my birthday today." And I'm like, "Oh shit, yeah, it is your birthday today. Totally forgot." I just suck with dates and I feel bad that yeah, that I completely forget, some people's birthdays. I mean, they don't care. I mean, they say, "No, it's fine," but I still just feel kinda shitty. Few more weeks until Stranger Things 4. Yeah, I'm excited for that. I love Stranger Things. I gotta rewatch the first 3 seasons, though, before I watch 4 because, I haven't watched them since, like, summer of 2020. Yeah, I think that's when I watched the first 3 seasons. Well, it's good to know that someone else likes Stranger Things in this chat because most people I talk to either don't even like the show or never seen it. October is yours. Sometimes have a hard time remembering birthdays of family members. Yeah. Again, immediate family members, like, the people I live with, I usually remember. But when it comes to like, family members who I don't talk to all the time or friends that I don't talk to all the time, I have a bad habit of completely forgetting their birthdays. New York had beautiful steam locomotives in New York Central Railroad, and New York has great food. Yeah, I love the food here. I'm so blessed to, uh, live here. Not to say New York is perfect all the time, but I do really like living here. I wish I could make YouTube videos like you, but I quit when I started going back. I started getting back into it. My old videos are gone forever. Oh God, I'm glad my old videos are gone forever. I'm not talking about old videos on this channel because, of course, those are still those still exist. Perhaps to my detriment, I don't know, but I had a channel before this one that had really cringy like comedy skits and shit. I've told people about this too a million times. So if anyone here watching this has heard it before, I'll keep it brief, I promise. But I'm glad that channel's out of just fucking got yeeted out of existence by YouTube. Got terminated for copyright because I would also upload Tom and Jerry episodes my father gave me, put on my computer when I was a kid. But yeah, the videos I did make on my own though, not good, not good. A lot of them I made an iMovie on the iPad, which I don't have a problem with on its own, but I would also make use of that fucking trailer feature that iMovie has, and I would just fucking make some of the fucking dumbest shit ever. Wonder if Stranger Things 5 is going to have a time skip since the actors are close to being adults. Yeah, and I've been actually thinking about that. How long are they going to keep this show going? Because, you know, the characters are supposed to be kids, like what fucking middle schoolers, I think. And yeah, the actors are clearly older than that. And they're only going to get older, so I wonder if they're going to have like a time skip to the 90s or something. Let's see these kids in the grunge era. Have fucking Nirvana and shit playing in the show. What are your thoughts on antinatalism? I'm not so educated on antinatalism, but forgive me if I'm wrong here, but the core premise of it is having children is like somehow morally wrong, right? Because they never asked to be born, right? Which to that I say, I mean, maybe I can kind of see the point. This world is shit, and no one asks to be born into this world, but I don't know. I don't really see the practice of having children to be, morally wrong or anything. Make a modern comedy video. It's called Touching Grass. Fucking classic. Modern classic, I should say. You never knew I had a channel before this one. I made a video about that, I think, years ago. I think it's called My YouTube History or something like that. I made it in like 2016, I think. Imagine if Wolfenstein was real. I'd probably kill myself. My hand okay after I touched grass a few days ago. It's healing. It's healing. That video was actually filmed last weekend, more than a week ago. No, actually, the weekend before last. I don't even remember. I filmed that video longer than the time I uploaded it. Longer than 4 days ago. I mean, or however long ago I uploaded that video. But yeah, it's definitely it was definitely a very traumatic experience. That video was 8 days old. That was young. Thought I uploaded that sooner. Damn, one of them is already in their fucking 20s. I'm watching Euphoria too. I only have 2 seasons left of the 2nd season, then I'm all caught up with everyone else. Um, it's okay. I mean, it's not the best show I've ever seen, but it's not bad either. But I wonder the same thing with that show. That show stars well, the characters are not literal teenagers, otherwise that show would be fucking child pornography, but, um, no, I wonder the same thing. Those actors aren't getting any younger. They're, like, in what, their early 20s, I think? I mean, it's kinda easier with a show like Euphoria because they're teenagers, like high school seniors, but still, I don't even know how long they plan on keeping that show running. Shit, you're right. Yeah, I am right. Touching grass. Funniest video on YouTube. I'm glad I finally replaced that old channel trailer too. Um, I rewatched it recently before I replaced it with the touching grass video. It was a little too antagonistic. I mean, I still don't like channel trailers very much. I think a lot of them are kind of self-righteous or you know kind of obnoxious, but I don't know. Kind of insult the viewer in the video, and I don't really like that. I know someone made a reaction or a response or whatever the fuck to that video. I never watched it, but maybe I will just to see what they have to say about it. See if I agree at all. Watch the first episode of it. It's a little hard to watch, but I like that it touches serious issues. It gets even harder to watch after the first episode. So if that was too much, then I advise probably not watching further than that. But I do appreciate that the the tackling of drug addiction in that show. That's definitely my favorite aspect of it because my father is also struggle has his own struggle with drugs, And it's definitely it's I've never actually lived with him for an extended period of time, but I'd imagine some of the scenes in that show are probably stuff he would do, depict some stuff he would do. Haven't seen Euphoria. I've seen the first episode of Stranger Things, never finished the first season. I know they dress as Ghostbusters in one episode. Yeah, I think that was for a Halloween episode, I think. Again, it's been like almost 2 years since I watched the first three seasons. Gotta rewatch them after the fourth season comes out. Netflix 2050 Stranger Things season 20. Oh god, I hope not. I've heard a lot about Netflix apparently tanking, like they're losing subscribers left and right. I don't know if this is gonna like hurt them in the long term or anything. But yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting that. I plan on keeping Netflix. My family plans on keeping Netflix. There's stuff that my family likes watching on Netflix, and there's also stuff that I like watching on Netflix, like prime example, Stranger Things. And yeah, I don't know. I Aside from watching one video Critical made about the situation, I don't really know much about, the whole mass unsubscribing from Netflix. I know they make a lot of bullshit, a lot of movies and shows that no one gives a fuck about, but there's still stuff on there that I like watching. And I remember the the tweet Netflix made promoting the fourth season of Stranger Things got was put on my Twitter timeline because Twitter itself promoted that tweet. I don't follow Netflix on Twitter. And people in the replies were saying, "You're failing, so now you got to put out a Stranger Things season." Like, what do you think a fucking season of a professionally produced show can just be slapped together overnight? Like, not to mention they already announced a new Stranger Things season was coming months ago before this whole debacle happened. But still, so many fucking dumb fucks in the replies. Just you know, ugh. George Carlin is my favorite comedian, bar none. Wish he was still alive. And also, uh, it's really obnoxious to see all these Republicans say he would be a Trump supporter. He was on our side. What? Who the fuck were you listening to? Like, oh, what's up, Seiler or Sealer, however you pronounce that username? I've drank a Fanta before, like something. The only time I ever drink like soda and shit like that is, at like parties and social gatherings and such. I don't pay attention to, I don't drink, beverages like that. My main drink of choice, I don't know, this might be cringe to some people, but my main drink of choice is orange juice. I've always loved orange juice. Actually, when my mother was pregnant with me, she told me she had a craving for oranges throughout the pregnancy, and that's probably what factors into me liking orange juice so much. But I also like water too. Water is, of course, good, and we should drink more water, of course. My favorite music genres: classic rock, alternative rock. Those are the two genres I listen to definitely the most. Listen to some metal, but I'm not like, a metalhead or whatever the fuck. Um, and yeah, it's really just classic rock and alternative rock I listen to mostly. I tried getting into rap a few years ago, and well, I shouldn't groan like that. That makes it sound like I don't like rap at all, which is not the case. I do like some rap, but not a whole lot of rap. I tried getting into well, I did get into Eminem. I still like his music to this day, or at least most of it. Um, my favorite rapper is a guy named Immortal Technique. He's a leftist rapper. He's probably the rapper I like definitely the most. But aside from that, I don't really listen to much rap at all. But I gave the genre a fair shot at least. There's a lot of people in, like, the classic rock community and such who probably have barely listened to any rap at all besides what makes it to the charts and says, "All rap is stupid. It takes no talent to create. Everyone who likes rap is a dumb fuck." Sonic Prime is coming soon to Netflix. Well, I'm sure Sonic fans are happy about that. Felt like Stranger Things 4 is going to get banned in Russia. Yeah, isn't Russia going to play a factor into the next, Stranger Things season? George Carlin was literally the opposite of a Republican. He was against patriotism, American exceptionalism, and was anti-police. Yeah, but these people just conveniently ignore that and say, "No, he would vote Trump. He would be wearing a MAGA hat. He'd be on our side because he made fun of feminists back in, like, 1991." Orange juice and water are based. Hey, great to know that someone else shares my taste in beverages. But no, some people think I'm crazy for not liking soda at all, even though my teeth is probably in better condition than theirs because soda fucking is not good for you at all. Well, I shouldn't be saying that. I eat food that's not good for me at all the time. But no, I never liked soda. Can never get into soda. Again, if it was like the only thing to drink at like a party or any kind of social gathering, I'll drink it. Whatever. It's not like I've never drank a soda in my life, but still, I just was never able to get into any of the sodas. When people argue over Coca-Cola or fucking Pepsi, I'm like, it's the same shit to me. I like orange juice the most out of any fruit juices. Oh, good. I thought a lot of people hate orange juice. A lot of people don't like orange juice, at least in my experience. A lot of my friends don't like it. My little cousin, remember I told him, he asked me, well, for whatever reason, what was my favorite drink, and I said orange juice, and he was like, "Yuck." I was like, "Shit." I thought I was alone. No one else in my house drinks orange juice, so I always felt kind of alone when it came to that. You should listen to Bus Driver. He's one of my favorite rappers. Extremely underrated. Maybe I'll give him a shot one of these days. I like OJ, apple juice, but my favorite is grape juice. I like apple juice too. That's usually what I get from the vending machine in my at my college, because usually the orange juice is either gone or they don't have it at all. Mostly listen to metal, but I also like some rock, electronic, and rap music. That's cool. I've tried to diversify my taste in music, and I feel like I have to an extent, but I always just come back to, rock. That's always going to be the genre I love the most. What is my favorite cartoon show? Courage the Cowardly Dog. No other show competes. Or at least no other cartoon show competes. Listen to rap, alternative rock, metal, J-pop, etc. Soda can cause cavities, while cavities mean painful dental procedures. Yeah, I'd rather avoid that. Thank you very much. Like orange juice with eggs, sausage, bacon, or toast. Yeah, orange juice while eating breakfast is the shit. I know orange juice tastes like fucking piss after you brush your teeth, but I've drank orange juice for my entire life, so I've gotten pretty used to that bitter taste after brushing my teeth. It's probably disgusting, but whatever. Hello, junkyard bastard. What a username. But hey, how you doing? I'm in the same boat as you. I've always hated soda, even since I was a little kid. Mostly stick to water. I'm old enough to drink alcohol, but I hate it. I haven't even drank a sip of alcohol, even though I'm 21. My father, when I was around the corner from turning 21, he was like, "Come on, put the fucking go drink, go to a bar, get plastered." And I'm like, "No, no." I mean, maybe I'll have some alcohol sometime in the future, but I'm not really that interested in having any alcohol, at least currently. Rock is my favorite as well. I mostly just listen to what comes on the rock station in my area. Yeah, but here's the thing. The rock station in my state, or at least the classic rock station, plays the same shit all the time. Like it's so fucking repetitive. I don't even listen to it anymore unless my mom has it on. There's a much better rock station that's in Long Island, so that means the reception in the car is pretty bad. It's mostly just static, but depending on where my mom is driving, you can actually get that station pretty clearly. And that station has a huge variety of different rock songs they play from, you know, of course they play songs from the big bands, like Pink Floyd, Beatles, and such. But they also play, stuff from lesser known bands, and I love that. I just wish that was closer to my area and, the reception wasn't so fucking bad, but that's actually a pretty good radio station. Rap has become my main genre over the years, but I'm mostly into 90s and 2000s rap, but still give modern stuff a chance. Going back to Euphoria, much of the soundtrack is like modern rap. So that's my biggest exposure to a lot of the rap that's played that people, in my age group like. And I hear it in the show, and I'm like, "People enjoy this?" I mean, I sound like such a dick saying that because I know there are people who legitimately enjoy it. There are people I'm friends with who legitimately enjoy that music, but I just don't get the appeal at all. I don't enjoy it at all. I mean, occasionally that show plays some good stuff, like, for example, on the episode I left off, last night, played Mazzy Star, band that I got into a few months ago, and their stuff is fucking excellent, but aside from, like, a few exceptions, it's mostly just that's played on that show. Opinion on Jeffree Star, I don't think you've covered that. I don't really have any opinion on Jeffree Star because I don't pay attention to what they do online. I don't pay attention to any of that influencer stuff. People who are like in the beauty community or whatever the fuck. It's never anything I was interested in at all. When you wrote opinion on Jeffree Star, though, while I was reading your stream comment, I thought you were gonna write Epstein after Jeffrey. Mm. I drink soda very little nowadays. I can probably count on a single hand how many times I've ever drank soda. Okay, I don't know if it was like less than 5 times I drank soda, but I've definitely drank soda very few times in my life. And I plan on keeping it that way. just listen to lyrical rappers myself. Yeah, if I were to listen to a rapper, it'd be, rapper that, doesn't do the whole flexing shit, the whole like I got money, I got bitches. I mean, rock isn't free from that. I mean, there's bands like Led Zeppelin where like a huge chunk of their discography is about having sex, but I don't know, all that stuff in rap just doesn't really capture my interest all that much. I mean, I'm not trying to single the genre out, but it seems like a lot of it is about that. I mean, I know there's rappers who rap about, actual like important shit. I mean, I'm into some rappers who either rap about life experience or politics and things like that, but you know, the most popular kind of rap I'm not that into. If somebody gave you the option to become immortal, would you take the offer? It's a pretty loaded question, and I don't know. Like, here's the thing. I don't like the idea of dying, but at the same time, if I were to be immortal, I'd see all the people I love die. And plus, I don't know if I'd want to live to see some world events that may take place after my lifetime. So I'm very mixed on a question like that. You might like the band Garbage. They're a 90s alternative slash electronic band. I've heard of Garbage before. I think I've heard a song or two of theirs. Best band name ever, by the way. Have you watched Tales from Scorchwater Valley? It's an animated pilot on YouTube. No, I've never heard of that. Forgot one thing. Imagine when OBA gets internet access and sees upcoming games for the Switch, he's going to throw a temper tantrum. Why? Is there any game coming out that would make him angry? I think we're robbed of a mega rant of Breath of the Wild being delayed again. Actually, that was a fucking triple whammy because he was saying in the months before his arrest, Breath of the Wild is never going to be on Nintendo's next console. It's going to be a Wii U exclusive. But Nintendo, shortly after he got arrested, announced that it was going to be delayed again. Not only that, it was going to be on the NX, which was the code name for the Switch at the time, and it was not going to be a Wii U exclusive. So, the fucking rant he would have done. Well, actually, wait, triple whammy because Breath of the Wild was going to be delayed again. It was not going to be Wii U exclusive, and also he was saying that the Switch was not going to be Nintendo's next console. He was going to say it's just going to be their handheld, and anyone who says otherwise is fucking stupid. I watched some of the videos he made on the NX in the months before his arrest after he disappeared out of curiosity, especially after the Switch release. So many of those aged so poorly. Mm. Yeah, I remember Go Animate videos. I don't know if those are still a thing. Maybe they are because miraculously I still get comments on that ancient Go Animate video I made. Kendrick Lamar keeps it real. Mad respect to him. Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about Kendrick. I never actually listened to much of his music though. The Bigger Picture by Little Baby is a good song about Black Lives Matter. Maybe I'll check out the song, but honestly, I find that name kind of funny. Little Baby. Yeah, I do think boomers do play a big part in fucking up this world. A lot of them are in fucking Congress right now. I mean, look at the Roe versus Wade stuff. A lot of the people, a lot of the people cheering on, you know, doing away with Roe versus Wade are these fucking boomers who are not going to be around for like another 30 years, that they want to dictate the future of this country. Surprised Obi hasn't come back yet. Well, I kind of talked about that at the beginning of this stream. I said that I kind of doubt that the first thing he'd want to come back to is his YouTube channel after not having internet access for 5 years, especially since that channel's former audience now knows he's a pedophile. Breath of the Wild 2 gets delayed. Yeah, that would probably piss him off, I'm sure. Go animate videos, unfortunately, are still a thing, and they're worse than ever. Well, a good thing I haven't paid attention to that community since like 2015. After I made that one Go animate video, I have not paid attention to that community at all. I'm surprised Seth MacFarlane didn't sue Go animate. Yeah, well, the fucking cartoon style is very reminiscent of Family Guy. I know. Republicans focusing on Roe v. Wade is just a distraction from the real issues that actually matter, but they can't focus on important issues since their ideology sucks. Well, I consider abortion rights and female bodily autonomy and the bodily autonomy of anyone who has a uterus to be an important issue, but all right. I feel that maybe with more of Gen Z going to be voting by the time 2024 happens, that more things could change under the assumption they vote and all that. I don't know. I still feel like it's going to be a blowout for the Republicans, and it's going to be a blowout for the Democrats in favor of the Republicans in 2022 and 2024. But we'll see. Maybe things could drastically change from now until then. All I know is I plan on not fucking participating in the circus. I live in a deep blue state, New York. You don't need my vote. He probably changed his name or he just doesn't want to come back since he's aware that he has hate. I doubt he's going to be able to buy a Switch. I don't know, but we'll see. Speaking of overturning Roe v. Wade, I learned from Vosh that J.K. Rowling has been silent on the issue. Not surprising, considering the fucking people she's harvested from her anti-trans fucking nonsense tirade she's been on. I think bodily autonomy is important too. I'm just fed up with Republicans and their culture war bullshit. Well, I probably misunderstood your previous comment because it made it seem like Roe versus Wade, the whole issue of abortion rights are potentially being stripped away from women and anyone with a uterus in red states, is a distraction and not the real issue we should be focusing on, which of course is not the case at all, but maybe that's not what you meant. Cultural bullshit, yeah, 100% agree on. It's just fucking vacuous nonsense that, the Republicans lean on because they can't actually they wouldn't be able to get people to vote for them otherwise. They didn't focus on the dumb culture war non-issues like critical race theory and tra- fucking kids being groomed into being trans as if that's a thing. I feel like I have to vote blue since I live in Ohio. Yeah, you live in a swing state, so I'd see why you'd want to vote blue in a state like that. But the thing is, like, Democrats don't give a fuck about the rights of the common folk, like, at all. And that's the thing that sours me. Like, if Democrats were to win midterms, if Democrats were to, win big in 2024, all of this shit would just be delayed until Republicans have the majority again. It's not like they'd fucking do anything meaningful. That's the thing that really turns me off from voting blue. What do I think of Soar and Smash? I honestly hated it. Well, I don't care about Smash at all. I don't know anything about Soar and Smash and any of that, so I don't have an opinion. Live in Wisconsin. I'm considering voting, but I hate the Democrats since they don't give a shit, but I hate the Republicans a little more. Yeah, I don't like either party, but it's pretty undeniable that the Republicans are even worse. But the alternative is the fucking Democratic Party, and yeah, Mikey doesn't care for Smash anymore. Anymore. I never cared for Smash. I tried pretending that I cared about Smash for a few years, but then I made a video talking about why I don't like Smash. People got mad, but I still mostly stand by that video, at least just in the sense that I don't care for the Smash Bros. Games. I still hate Ron DeSantis and have lost faith in American politics. It's really hard to keep faith in American politics when people fucking root for someone like Ron DeSantis. You know, shit like the Don't Say Gay bill that other states are now mimicking, planting the seed. Well, this seed has always been there, but uh, further propagating the idea that trans people are predators and groomers and want to make your kids trans. Like, it's all fucking nonsense. It's all just bullshit. Yet so many people just eat this shit up because their bigotry is so irrational that they just don't fucking think logically. For me, it's about harm reduction. I understand people's concerns about the Democratic Party, and I agree they suck, but the Republican Party is 100 times worse. I agree that the Republican Party is 100 times worse, but at least for me, I just cannot justify voting for Democrats, at least in a fucking state like mine, where it's like, you know, a blue stronghold. I have no reason to participate in the voting process because, again, my state is under no threat of being, it becoming red. My state is what it is 10 times out of 10 going to vote blue is going to swing blue. So I just don't, I don't feel like participating in the fucking voting process. And plus, the Democrats are just so ineffective. I'm not gonna say they're mirror images of each other because the they're not, but still, I just it's a very frustrating position this country is in, you know? I casually took that political compass thing again recently, and I was dead centrist, but a little into libertarian. Glad I didn't vote for Biden. My state went to him anyway. I initially voted for Bernie, and in the general election, I voted for the Green Party. In 2020, I unfortunately sucked it up and voted Biden because at the time I bought into the whole harm reduction shit. But after nearly, after after a whole year of Biden, going into 2 years, yeah, it's not like I was expecting like amazing shit to happen under a Biden presidency, but still, it just it just taught me that voting blue just only makes things only somewhat marginally better. But not better enough to the point where I'm going to keep voting blue. Sucks that my mom's a centrist piece of shit that likes DeSantis and defended Kyle Rittenhouse. Yeah, I'm fortunate enough to not live with any Republican family members. The closest I got to that was when my grandma was in the hospital and my uncle from Jersey lived with us for like 2 weeks during that whole thing. Every night, fucking Tucker Carlson on the living room TV. Just wanted to vomit. They're pushing a narrative that most people think is complete bullshit. I'll vote for Bernie again if he runs. I'd vote for Bernie's corpse over Biden and any fucking Republican candidate. Michael losing family members ain't shit. Well, what do you mean by that? Are you trying to say that me losing my grandmother doesn't matter? I mean, maybe that's not what you mean, but that's kind of what I'm ascertaining from that chat comment. And if that is what you're trying to convey, that is an immediate ban. Honestly, I figured I would be a wee bit on the left from that political compass. I don't even take the tests like that seriously. I mostly take tests like that sometimes when I'm bored and just for the shits and giggles. My dad watches Tucker Carlson all the time, really annoying shit. Yeah, I can't imagine fucking seeing that guy on your living room TV all the time. Well, I can imagine because that was reality for like 2 weeks. No, that's not what you were saying. The K through 12 public school system is supposedly a big conspiracy perpetuated by the federal government to brainwash and dumb down everybody. Maybe in a way that is true, but not in the sense that Republicans think. Not in the way Republicans think. I don't care who dies in my family except my nieces and nephews. Most people in my family are ignorant losers. Ah, that's what you mean. Probably should have clarified that a little better in your initial comment, but yeah, uh, my my condolences for having to live around such seemingly bad family members. Fox News always plays on a smaller TV at work. Yuck. Voted for Bernie in the 2016 primaries, but couldn't suck it up and vote for Hillary. Ended up voting for Gary Johnson for some reason. That was a dumb 19-year-old. Well, that can be forgiven, I suppose. Yeah, I don't blame you at all for not sucking it up and voting for Hillary, though. It's even worse than voting for Biden. My dad changes the TV to Fox as soon as he gets home. He puts on the five and eats up what they say and also watches Tucker Carlson. Is the five that show on Fox with like the fucking host sitting on like a sofa or something? Because I've seen some political commentators taking the piss out of some segments from that show, if that is what you're referring to. My grandparents on my father's side is already gone, which I'm glad. Jeez. Must have been really bad for you to have that kind of reaction to their deaths. Unfortunately, my grandparents are all gone. Well, all of my grandparents except one are gone. Both of my grandparents, uh, both of my grandfathers, I should say, passed away before I was even born. My grandmother, on my mother's side, of course, died just over a year ago. My great grandmother died when I was like 6, I think. I think she died in 2007. I just have my one grandma left on my father's side, and I do talk to her on a regular basis. I make an effort to call her. She lives all the way down in Florida, so I can't see her that often, but I do talk to her on the phone often whenever I can. You know, sometimes I'm busy with like schoolwork and such, and it just kind of slips in my mind. And Yeah, I know that's very shitty, but I do try to make an effort to talk to her because I don't know how much time she has left. Not to say she's sick or anything, but you know, she's right around the corner to being 80 years old. Gotta cherish every second she has left on this earth. Fox News has been played at two gyms I've went to, one of which I worked at for 2 months, but I didn't have to hear the audio for it. Well, at least you didn't have to hear them fucking spewing all that drivel. Yeah, that's the five. Yeah, I figured. I couldn't think of any other show on Fox News that would fit a name like the five. Even my parents don't like networks like Fox News. Really? I thought your parents were like really conservative. Wait, let me guess. They watch Newsmax and fucking what's the other one called? Uh, I forget the name of that other fucking hardcore right wing. Uh, no, it's One American News. OAN. It's called. Do they watch those? The only news they watch is local. Oh, all right. I thought maybe they were like, oh, Fox News is too left wing for me. Let me watch these even further right wing news stations. I remember when that was a big thing around the time Trump lost the election. But like the lapdogs they are, most Republican voters went flocking back to Fox News and completely forgot about that whole revolt against Fox News and the Republican Party they were having around the time Trump uh, lost the 2020 election. We live in a time where intelligent people are being silenced so that stupid people won't be offended. Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, Republicans are so anti cancel culture, yet they're quick to fucking cancel any any teacher that's within the LGBTQ plus community, telling students that gay people are valid, lesbians are valid, trans people are valid. The extent of this fucking grooming is pretty much just saying there are men who like other men, and there are men who marry other men. There are women who marry other women. There are people who want to be who there are people who are born boys who want to be girls. There are people who are vice versa. But Republicans fucking fearmonger over the dumbest shit that is not even a fucking issue whatsoever because they have nothing else to fucking run on. So they just feed off of people's irrational bigotry because they know that would siphon votes from people. My dad would watch OAN sometimes. Now OAN has been removed from DirecTV. Yeah, I heard about that. I heard people were getting really pissed off about that. Oh well, too bad. So sad. Because Fox News is back to the whole election was rigged nonsense. Really? I thought they backpedaled from that because they're getting heat from the companies that make the voting machines and want to get sued into oblivion. They get mad about kids making pride flags in schools, but who gives a shit? The Republican Party gives a shit, unfortunately. This is a huge hot button issue in this country currently, and I fucking hate it so much. It just fuels people's irrational bigotry. People like DeSantis just fucking feed off of this shit. And I'm sure most of these Republican politicians know they're fucking spewing nonsense, but they know their voter base is so fucking stupid to the point where they think that, there's this epidemic of trans people grooming kids into being trans or gay people grooming kids into being gay. Like, I remember Vosh saying this in a video recently. If your kid wants to be a different gender than the one they were born as, than the one they were assigned to at birth, chances are they were trans from the fucking beginning. There is no fucking grooming involved. They came to that conclusion themselves because being dysphoric, I know I'm talking about this as a fucking cis person, but still, I'm sure that being dysphoric is not something that just happens at the fucking flick of a switch. just something that someone tells you to be. Oh, you're a cis guy, you're a cis boy, but I want you to be a girl. You're a girl now. I don't think it fucking works like that. Most people don't want to hear the truth. They just want constant reassurance that what they believe is the truth. Indeed, exactly. This is kinda relevant to what I'm talking about, but it's still kind of a deviation away from what I'm talking about. But I kinda wanted to bring this up. Last week, my mom went to Jersey to go help my cousin who was moving into a different house to pack up all their stuff. And for whatever reason, I think they wanted to borrow something from one of my cousin's friends, and that friend has a child. Well, not a child, they're like my age, but you get what I mean, who is non-binary. And my cousin, who is over 50 years old, misgendered that person because I assume they have a feminine appearance, and they referred to that person by she, her pronouns. And that person completely flipped out, apparently. That's what my mom told me. And here's the thing, my cousin and my mom didn't know that they were non-binary, so I don't really think that reaction was warranted. They don't understand the concept of ND people either. My mom was asking me, and I explained it to her, and she's like, "Well, I don't exactly get it, but it kind of makes sense." Like, again, I don't think that reaction was warranted if they really did fly off the handle like my mom described, because my mom and my cousin, they're not bigoted in that sense. They're not gonna discriminate against someone for their sexuality or the gender they ascribe to. Fuck, my cousin's daughter is a lesbian, my other cousin. But yeah, like my mom and my cousin, they're willing to understand. They're willing to listen and understand, but this person just completely scolded them. Like, I understand to an extent, being misgendered does suck, and is something that is not appropriate in certain contexts. Like if my mom and my cousin were, you know, going out of their way uh, to disrespect this person and misgender them maliciously, then yeah, fly off the handle all you want. But my mom and my cousin, they don't understand they don't understand non-binary people, but they were willing to listen. My mom was asking me about non-binary people, so she was willing to learn more. So I don't think that reaction was warranted at all. Flipping out on someone over that is completely unwarranted. Some people just need more time to understand, especially my mom and my cousin. They're both over 50 years old. They don't know anything about this. But again, they were willing to learn more. But this person was just not having it at all. They were like, "Ugh, just fuck off if you're not going to refer to me by they them pronouns." Again, something they don't even fucking understand. So they see this person who looks feminine, so they're going to refer to that person by she her pronouns. I'm not saying like, this is something I'm not saying that, it's necessarily I'm not saying it's a good thing that they were misgendered, of course, but you know my mom and my cousin are both middle aged. They didn't grow up with this kind of stuff being mainstream. That's why whenever I meet a new person, even if they look like a boy or look like a girl, I'm still going to resort by they them pronouns. I have a worrying feeling this grooming rhetoric from Republicans will lead to a mass shooting at Pride or Disney. I would not be surprised if that shit happens at all. And Republicans would have nothing but themselves to blame for that. Not like they would give a fuck. I mean, they don't care in the slightest, but still, if that were to happen, thank all of this fucking rhetoric that is so prevalent in this country right now. I overheard someone at a place I do volunteer work flat out say that they were just gonna call someone a girl even if they went by they them pronouns. That is shitty. That is legitimate bigotry. That is something that if that person, my mom and my cousin talked to, would be completely justified to freak out over because that is actually disrespecting someone's identity. That's not just, ignorance. That's not someone who doesn't know much about NB people, but are willing to learn more. That is just flat out bigotry. So, yeah, if anyone were to lose their shit at someone like that, that is completely warranted. Ugh. Let me get to a more comfortable position now. Was tired of just laying on my stomach. It's already been over an hour since I started streaming. God damn. And yes, that is my uncle speaking in the background if you hear him. That's like a staple in these streams ever since I started streaming in the post pandemic world. Because ever since the pandemic began, he's been working from home. And whenever he talks on the phone, he talks like he's talking to someone who's like fucking 50 feet away. I never got that though, talking to someone on the phone and practically screaming into the phone. I've encountered so many people who are like that. And in some cases, yeah, I can kind of understand you're excited to talk to a person, but do you have to be so loud on the phone? I'm sure they can hear you just fucking fine. My mom has screamed at people on the phone maliciously. Well, that's different. I mean, that's an argument, I'm sure. Like I remember a few months ago, my dad called my mom and he said something that pissed my mom off, and she was just fucking screaming into the phone. It brought me back to when I was like 5 years old, and I'd hear that all the time. Them screaming at each other, whether it was them screaming at each other face to face or on the phone. But they patched things up ever since then. I don't know if anyone watching this right now gives a fuck, but I've been playing Mother 3 on my GameCube, on my Game Boy player. Really good game. I still really like it. Made a video a few years ago talking about how it's better than Earthbound. I feel like I jumped the gun a little early on that though. I only played the game once. Well, I played the game all the way through once at that point. The year, but I only made it past the first chapter, and then the emulator crapped out and the whole game, and I was like, "Fuck that shit." So I quit the game for like a year, and then played it again and played all the way through to the ending. But no, it's a really good game. Really liking it so far. We'll see if I like it more than Earthbound though, because I played Earthbound so many times, so many times. Like I can't even count how many times I played that game at this point. It was like my RE4 before RE4. See ya, Guitar Rocker. Well, there's barely anyone left in this stream, so we'll see how much longer I stream for. It was lively earlier, but dead now. So how are the 4 people watching this doing? You all okay? Taking care of yourselves and anyone else who may be in your lives? Little more than a month until those new PS Plus tiers come out. Yeah, that's just kind of I mean, I guess it's nice that they're going to put more classic games on the PlayStation Store, but if they roll out these classic games and let people who are not subscribed to these higher tiers buy these games individually, I really don't see the fucking point. I'll just buy them individually and, not subscribe to any of these higher tiers because there'd be no point for me. I'm doing fine. I'm just waiting for an hour before I have to go to work. I see. But yeah, going back to the PlayStation stuff, I got a notification that Mystic uploaded. Well, he uploads every Friday, talking about the latest PlayStation news and shit. And one of the stories I assume he talks about in the video in the title is Sony possibly buying Square Enix. I don't know if there's any legitimacy to that or if that's just like clickbait. But yeah, more acquisitions. Hooray! Very exciting. Yes, I don't even like it when Sony does it. I've just been doing no damaging Yakuza. I see. Well, yeah, maybe I should challenge myself to do stuff like to do challenges like that. No damage runs, but sounds too frustrating, honestly. I can do no deaths with certain games that I've played a whole bunch of times, but no damage. Square Enix did sell off Western franchises like Tomb Raider to Embracer Group to HQ Nordic. I've been interested in trying out the Tomb Raider series. Seems like a series that'd probably appeal to me, maybe. But yeah, I didn't even know. This might be kind of sad, but I didn't even fucking know Square Enix owned the rights to Tomb Raider until recently. Same with what was it, Life is Strange, I think, too. I thought they just did games like fucking Final Fantasy and shit. Well, maybe now that's the case, now that they're selling off their Western properties, but up until recently, I mean. But will Square Enix become Sony's property sometime soon? We'll see. I know a lot of people say the same thing about Capcom. They think Sony's gonna buy out Capcom sometime soon. Which again, I'm not crazy about all these fucking acquisitions and shit. I don't like when Microsoft does it. I don't like it when Sony does it. Nintendo just kind of sits in the corner, thankfully. Um, but no, I'm not a big fan of all this acquisition shit going on in the gaming industry right now. It just fucking consolidates the industry. It just makes it fucking less consumer friendly, less choices for people who play on just one platform. It's bullshit. I mean, at the very, very least, a Capcom acquisition would mean Resident Evil was under no threat of leaving the PlayStation platform. But, at the same time, I'd just rather all of these third party companies remain independent, third party publishers or whatever, to remain independent. I think they were just a publisher for those games. Or if you're talking about Tomb Raider, I know that. Well, now I know that. I didn't even know Square Enix had like anything to do with Tomb Raider up until recently. But no, I know they were just publishers. They just own the studios that were involved in the actual creation of the game. Yeah, Microsoft did try to buy Nintendo around the time the GameCube released, I think. Thank God that was fucking laughed out of the room. Imagine what would have became of Nintendo. Imagine if Sony bought Nintendo. Shit. But no, I'm not. Even though I don't care that much for the Switch these days, I'm glad Nintendo is still on their own, doing their own thing. I'd rather that than them being owned by either Microsoft or Sony. I remember when Sony tried to do their own clone game, their own Smash Bros. Clone game. What was it? PlayStation All Stars, it was called? I only did one of those, I think, like 10 years ago or 11 years ago, however long ago that was. It'd be interesting to see them do another one, though, with all of the new characters from newer PlayStation franchises that came out after that game. I loved Ghost of Tsushima. That probably came out of nowhere, but no one else is talking, so why not bring up the game that I played recently that I loved? Wasn't expecting to get into that game as much as I did, but it was really, really good. I'm definitely going to replay that someday. Right now, I'm focusing on playing stuff I have in my GameCube. I got Mother 3, Metroid Fusion, and I probably had no reason to buy this, but it was cheap, so I went for it. I also got the Ocarina of Time port for the GameCube. Yes, that game was also on the GameCube for people who might not know. Again, it was shockingly cheap, so I just went for it. I like Ocarina of Time, so why not? You don't have your GameCube or Wii power cord. Rip. Like you don't have it at all, or it's just like packed away somewhere. Well, I'm glad when I found my GameCube, it was in a box and had the power cord and also the AV cables. It had everything that I had when I was a kid. When I first got this GameCube, this isn't the GameCube I had when I was a little kid, but I got this one when I was like 12. GameCube, I don't know where it is, but a friend of mine wanted to use my Wii power cord to play Project M or something and forgot to return it. Yeah, they forgot to return it. I usually don't trust a person when they say they forgot to return something to me. There have been so many times where people in my high school were like, "Hey, can I borrow a pencil?" And for like my first year of high school, I would be like, "Yeah, you can borrow my pencil." And they'd never give it back. And then like the next day I'd ask, "Oh, where's the pencil? I lost it." So I learned my lesson after that first year, and every time someone said they wanted to borrow a pencil, I would just say, no, no, I don't have any spare pencils, even though I have like fucking five other pencils in my pencil case. But no, I'm not doing that. I didn't want to do that shit anymore. And no one has asked me for a pencil in college. My GameCube and Wii or my PC. Yeah. That's definitely a lot easier than collecting these fucking games, especially since so many of these games have shot up in price in recent years. But honestly, it's more fun collecting these games. I know that probably doesn't appeal to you, so whatever, that's fine. But for me personally, I like actually physically owning these games and playing them on an actual GameCube and getting that authentic experience. Nothing beats that out for me. Yeah, rip. Remember those times too. I did that once to one of my cousins. Well, actually, two of my cousins because they're twins. But I lost my DS stylus. This is around the time I first got my DS Lite, which was my first DS, by the way. But I would always lose the fucking stylus. I'm so glad Nintendo moved away from using styluses. By the way, fucking hate those fucking things. But anyways, I remember I asked them, "Oh, can I borrow your stylus?" And they said, "Sure," but give it back. I left with the stylus, and I didn't forget. I just wanted to keep it because I didn't know where the fuck the stylus that came with the DS went. And yes, they did catch on, but I had to return it another day. So I got to use my DS with the stylus for a few days until I bought a new one. Yeah, it's nice to see physical games on something. Yeah, I mean, it's for me, it's just fun collecting these games and playing them on, the actual hardware. And there's also ways to mod your GameCube too, where you can play like any game you want, any GameCube game that you want. I mean, but that involves like opening up your GameCube and installing something. And yeah, I'd rather not do that. I don't trust myself enough to do that. And you could also like mod your GameCube to make the Game Boy player work without using the disc, but that involves buying other stuff that I'd rather not. No, I don't feel like buying. So I just went with the actual disc. Yeah, this is like 100. No, actually, like $200 in my hand right now. Lucky enough to find this for 130, which I know is still expensive as fuck, but is a steal compared to how much this usually goes for, like 200 or $250 just for this little fucking thing. I wish there was well, there is a way to make the Game Boy player work without the disc, I just said, but I mean, officially, I wish Nintendo didn't have to make it work with this fucking disc, but whatever. I have it now, so I have no reason to complain anymore. Well, a lot of people say they don't even like the Game Boy Player software, the official Game Boy Player software on the GameCube, because apparently input lag is really bad, which I have not experienced that at all. Maybe it's not as noticeable on a game like Mother 3, but I've noticed that my movements and stuff and you know uh, turns I take in battles are pretty instantaneous. So if there is any input lag, I don't fucking notice it. We'll say it's nice playing games at a higher resolution on Dolphin. Yeah, even though you're not going to beat Dolphin, there is a way to make GameCube games on native hardware higher resolution. Earlier models of GameCubes came with a digital AV out that Nintendo never utilized or didn't utilize all that much during its lifespan. So they just kind of took away that port from later GameCube models. But no, the GameCube model I have has that, and there's a way to connect an adapter to that digital AV out and plug in a HDMI cable and actually have GameCube games run at a higher resolution on native hardware. So that's pretty cool. I've been thinking about maybe utilizing that someday, but the adapter itself is pretty expensive, like 80 fucking dollars. So that's not a high priority. Maybe once I get, maybe once I don't feel the need to get any more GameCube games, I already have all the ones I want. Then uh, then maybe I'll go for that. But no, it's really cool that the GameCube can do that. It's a pretty capable console for its time. You forgot about that? Yeah, a lot of people forgot about that. Nintendo even made component cables for GameCube that are like $400 now because all they ever sold those cables on were on their website. They never advertised them, so they're pretty rare now. Which I'm definitely not fucking getting that. After this stream, I'm probably gonna play Mother 3 and continue to procrastinate on the fucking paper I'm supposed to write. I'm finally gonna focus on that paper tomorrow. I hate writing papers. At least the finish line is soon. I mean, after this week, well, I mean, the upcoming week is the last full week of school, of college, I mean. And then the week after that, I have maybe a day or two, and then that's it. That's fine. Then there's finals, but all of my professors assigned papers for this upcoming week that are going to count as finals. So pretty much next week is finals week for me. If the GameCube sold more, it would have helped with the pricing on the classic games, I would think. Oh, definitely. I mean, look at the PlayStation 2. I'm sure a lot of the games, a lot of the most popular and sought after games for the PlayStation 2 are still at a reasonable price because the PlayStation 2 sold like fucking hotcakes. Over 100 million units. It was the best selling console of all time. We'll see if the Switch beats it out, though. The Switch is chugging along and is set to beat out the Wii. Or maybe it has already beat out the Wii. I don't even remember. But yeah, I think the GameCube definitely deserved better in its lifespan. I mean, it still did pretty well compared to, like, say, the Dreamcast, the console that killed Sega as a console manufacturer and turned them into a third party only company. Yeah, I don't see any real expensive PS2 games. I would assume Persona 3 and Persona 3 Fez, FES, whatever, would be a bit pricey, though. I don't know, is it? $30 for, yeah, not that bad. I'm sure if Persona 3 was a GameCube game, it'd be like $150, though. Yeah, that's why I said I'm sure even the most sought after PS2 games are still pretty cheap compared to, say, the most sought after GameCube games. But I'm sure if the GameCube didn't have the small discs, it probably would have done a little bit better. And if Nintendo added the feature where you could watch, DVDs on your GameCube, I'm sure that would have helped too because that helped the PS2 tremendously. But no, even to this day, Nintendo still doesn't really like doing stuff like that. I mean, fuck the Switch only has what, Hulu on it? Doesn't even have Netflix, HBO Max, or any of the other big streaming services on it. Ugh. I mean, maybe it would make Nintendo look better, but it's not like a deal breaker for me. I mean, people have like smart TVs and shit like Apple TVs and such, and in my case, other consoles that can have have these other streaming services. But still, I mean, just out of convenience, I mean, the Switch is more than capable than having these streaming services on it. I don't see why Nintendo doesn't have like the other big streaming services on the Switch. Hulu and Crunchyroll are the only ones I think. Then YouTube. Well, I don't really count YouTube when it comes to streaming platforms for professionally made content, professionally made shows. I mean, but yeah, I mean the past few nights I've been watching Euphoria on the TV downstairs. Looks gorgeous on that TV, by the way. But whenever my uncle is watching TV downstairs, I use the PlayStation to watch my shows. I got a smart TV in my room now, but I still use the PlayStation because I don't really feel like signing into all of the streaming services on my TV all over again when I have my PlayStation in here already with all the sign in information and such. And also not to mention, the PlayStation my PlayStation can play DVDs and Blu-ray discs, and I don't have an actual DVD player in my room anymore. I used to have one in my room years ago, but as a kid I fucking destroyed it. Smart TVs sometimes have a bit of lag still for streaming services when navigating. Well, even for the big TV in the living room that we got last year, I don't use the TV's native UI to access these streaming services. I use the Apple TV that we have connected to it. I just like the Apple TV's UI more than the UI that came with the TV. So I didn't know lag was a thing with some smart TVs. Yeah, same. I just use my PS5 if I wanted to use streaming services on the TV, if only Paramount Plus was added. Is Paramount Plus not on the not on PlayStation at all, or is it just like it has a PS4 version of the app that and not a native PS5 version? Because that's the case with HBO Max, and that's kind of annoying because all the other streaming services I use, or at least most of them, have native PS5 versions. But then for HBO Max, I'm watching Euphoria. I forget to turn on the external hard drive that I have connected to my PlayStation, and I gotta wait for that for like a minute to boot up because there's only a PS4. Well, at least for me, only PS4 version of that. I think. Just the PS4, so you can't access Paramount Plus on the PS5 at all, or just download the PS4 version? I think I see HBO Max on the PS5. There is. Usually it automatically updates to the PS5 version for me. That was the case for some of the other streaming services I have. You got to look into that. I tried looking on the PlayStation Store or whatever for HBO for a native, PS5 version of HBO Max, but I couldn't find anything. I just found the same app that I have downloaded already. You can have it downloaded on the PS5, but apparently the only workaround is with Apple TV Plus and signing up for it with your iCloud account. I see. You'd think they'd have it added to the fucking PS5. I mean, I know it'll come eventually. It has to come eventually, but you think they do it already? I remember for like nearly a year, the first well, maybe not a year, but like the first 6 months or so of HBO Max's existence, it wasn't on it wasn't on the Fire Stick at all. And my mom in my room, not my room, in her room, she only had a Fire Stick connected to her TV, and she wanted to watch HBO Max because we used to have HBO Now, but then they just automatically moved us to Max, and she couldn't access Max in her room. But there was some workaround where you could unofficially download the app onto the Fire Stick, and I did that for her, and it worked perfectly fine for her for like 6 months until the app officially rolled out for Fire Sticks and Fire TVs and whatever, which is what I have in my room. It's an Insignia TV, but it has Amazon's Fire TV UI installed onto it. It is nice to have it is nice Apple Music is on PS5. Yeah, it is very nice. I don't use it very much because the kind of games I like to play are usually like, single player campaign, narrative driven stories where, the games are dialogue heavy. But with a game like fucking Crash Bandicoot, I was listening to music a lot while playing that game because it's fucking Crash Bandicoot. It has a story, but it's not a deep story or anything. And I barely even remember what the fuck happened to that game story wise. Just remember the levels really pissing me off. Wow, I have 8 people here again. I have a TCL Roku TV in my bedroom. Cool. Hello, how are you? I'm doing all right. How are you, Leo? My friend is crazy. He's egotistical and thinks he's the best. I do my best to avoid people like that. Can't stand being in the presence of people like that. No, thank you. Yeah, okay. That's good to hear. I've just been chilling here for what YouTube says is now an hour and 49 minutes. Jesus. Time flies when you're having fun. Hour and 50 minutes now. Like, most of my classes, well, 2 out of 4 of my classes, so half of the classes I take, are just an hour and 15 minutes. and they feel so much longer than that. But then I sit here and do these streams for like 2 hours, and it just fucking flies by. Interesting how time works. No, I have not watched King of the Hill, but I've heard so many good things about King of the Hill. Maybe I'll watch it someday. I don't even know what streaming platform King of the Hill is on, though. Hulu. With a premium subscription, but we have premium, so cool. I'm so glad we don't have the ad plan for Hulu anymore. I mean, it wasn't bad compared to say like how fucking cable is, where like every 5 minutes you get a 5 minute commercial break with like 20 different commercials playing, but still, I'm just glad we completely got rid of the ad plan for Hulu and now pay a little bit more for no ads on Hulu. Because even my family was getting irritated by it. And as you probably know, if you watched my cable sucks video, we completely got rid of all the cable boxes in our house. I mean, we still use Spectrum. Now we just use the Spectrum app that is not on either Fire TVs or PS5, so I can't even access it, but it doesn't even matter for me because I don't even like watching live TV anymore. I haven't watched live TV for goddamn years now. They have a coffee flavored Oreo now. I mean, maybe I shouldn't knock it until I try it, but that's 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 interesting to say the least. You're struggling to participate because of your OCD. What do you mean, participate in this stream or like something else you're talking about? But do they compete with the white covered Oreos? That is the question. Nothing competes with the white colored or covered Oreos. Nothing. I wish they had those year round. I'm still salty about that. I think I made a video years ago just for the lulz, ranting about the fact that they don't have those Oreos out all year round. They're just for Christmas time. That's a fucking travesty. I mean, they have mini versions of those Oreos that are out all year round, but they're not the same. They're small, not the big white covered Oreos like the ones that I like. In the stream, well, I mean, I'm not gonna scold you for not participating in the stream. The Oreo cake steers are complete with the white fudge Oreos. Yeah, I could go for a white fudge Oreo right now. The same can be said about the Christmas tree Little Debbie snacks. I don't eat Little Debbie snacks. My laptop is almost going to die. 18%. Jeez, these streams really fucking chew a hole into the into the battery. But luckily, I only do them once a month. I couldn't find the Christmas Little Debbie snacks anywhere in 2021, but they were everywhere in 2020 and years before. I've always had trouble finding the white fudge Oreos every Christmas, every time the holiday season arrives. You know, that's when they have those white fudge Oreos out in stores. But usually they're so goddamn hard to find because I'm sure most other people think like me and want to fucking snag those as quickly as possible because they're fucking delicious. So that just makes it hard to find every year for me. Get that M1 MacBook. I don't know, maybe. This thing is a few years old now, and this is fucking. It's a dinosaur in Apple years. My friend made a stupid joke. He said he made a website for orphans, but there's no homepage. What the fuck? Oh, I think the M2 variants will start coming out later this year, but the 14 and 16-inch MacBook Pros seem nice. I'm not that interested in upgrading my MacBook. This has served me well for almost 3 years now. Crazy to think it's been almost 3 years since I bought this thing, but yeah, time really does fly, like I said earlier. But I do plan on getting the iPhone 14. From what I hear, that's going to be the real upgrade. I think the notch is either going away or going to be even smaller. What about for iOS? Is there anything exciting coming to iOS this year? I'd like something substantial to change finally for iOS or some new big feature to come. My Mac still works fine, but the battery only lasts 3 hours now. Yeah, my battery's starting to drain quicker on both my MacBook and my iPhone. If you were to get naked to prove a point, would you do it? Why would I get naked to prove what point? No. Well, for one, this is YouTube. I'd get banned immediately, and two, that would blind everyone watching the video, so no. The notch will be gone on the 14 Pro and Pro Max. Well, rip. Guess I'm gonna another notch iPhone this year then, because I don't plan on getting a Pro or definitely a Max. How long is my uncle gonna talk on the fucking phone? Jesus. It's always when I stream too. Always when I stream. You on most days he doesn't talk to anyone on the phone, but when I stream, that's when he talks for like a fucking hour, screaming into the phone, hearing almost every word he says. I don't feel too bad because I'm not professional or anything the fucking slightest. This is just me laying down in my bed, but it's still kind of annoying. Same thing with the construction. Well, I lucked out today because there wasn't that much construction noise today. But a lot of the other times when I stream, they're fucking going away at it. They're fucking loud as shit. They're just going at it. Fucking bang, 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 bang outside. But thankfully, I dodged that this stream. Apparently, the 14 and 14 Max will also get the A15 chip, like on the 13 series, but the Pros will get the A16 chip. Same with the Pros getting a 48 MP processor and possibly 8K video. Nice. Nice. I don't know. I barely fucking know anything when it comes to like the internals of iPhones, but I'm sure that's all well and dandy, especially 8K video. Shit. Maybe I'll do the K edition of me touching grass if I do end up with a pro model of the iPhone 14. Ooh, exciting. I don't even know if you could upload 8K videos onto YouTube though. Speaking of that, you can. Oh, well, maybe that will become a reality. Hype. I'm planning on getting a Shiba Inu soon. I'm excited. Yeah, those dogs are cute. They're also a meme and a fucking form of cryptocurrency. Ugh. But no, those dogs are really nice. So enjoy your Shiba. Take good care of it, of course, but that goes without saying. I plan on getting the 14 Pro and not the Max. The Max models are too fucking big, even for me. I got big hands, but this suits me just well. Size of this phone suits me just well. What should I name the Shiba? I don't know. Name it Michael. No. Name it whatever you want. It's your pet. The battery on my phone is also now off 100% max battery capacity. It's at 98%. I haven't even checked that for my phone in a long time. I'll check it now. Uh, Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I don't even want to say what my maximum capacity is. Shit. I didn't even know it was this bad. Wasn't expecting that. It's not as bad as it was on my 6, though. That was a fucking nightmare. And every time I turn it back on, if it's not plugged in, it only lasts like probably 20 minutes at best. But no, it gives me the little message here at the top. Your battery's health is significantly degraded. An Apple authorized service provider can replace the battery to restore full performance and capacity. No, thank you. I'm getting a 14 by the end of this year, hopefully. Okay, that's 77% maximum battery capacity. All right. secrecy is done. And that's a and with that said, let's send the stream finally. And speaking of battery, your Mac will sleep soon unless plugged into a power outlet. So yeah, my Mac is dying too. What perfect timing. Anyway, thank you for being here. Appreciate everyone who's still watching me right now. The 7 people who are still watching the stream right now. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who was here earlier. And I don't know if anyone donated to Nicole, but please do. Please do if you have some money to spare. I'm sure she would appreciate even just $1 sent her way. She definitely deserves the money a lot more than I do. Anyway, with all that said, thank you for being here, like I said, and yeah, take care.